Do I have the countdown video? Where? I have no views yet, so where's the chat? Where's the chat? Hello, guys. Tonight we will be discussing with Onaoluwa, who has been wonderful in patience, and I'm hoping that tonight we'll take value from the conversations that we will be having with her. So in a few minutes from now, we will be having the show go live. I'm hoping that tonight we will have a very good experience, one where we're learning. We're not going to be seeking to win an argument, but rather, to learn and, to get things working fine. Thank you all for keeping faith with this plan to begin to engage brilliant minds, brilliant people on these pressing topics and issues. Okay, so am I live on Facebook yet?
Yes, you are.
Am I live on Facebook?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, but are you hearing me?
Yes.
You need to put your earphones. Okay, so let's get into this. Thank you guys for joining. So, Ramadan, thanks for joining in. Call Mariam Aliu loud and clear. Anix, thank you. Do you see me? Okay, they can hear, but it seems like they can't see me because my camera. I think I should be seeing. Can you guys see me? Yo, I'm live. Thanks, Anik. So thanks, guys. This is going to be an engaging one, hopefully. Onaoluwa and I have, tried this out, and then we're new at this, so there might be one or two flops, but I've got great guys behind the scenes. I've got Babadi behind the scenes and Mr. Booker T. They're somewhere over there behind the scenes. They're trying to get things working well for us. Guys, if your phones keep interrupting this Facebook Live, I'm going to get very mad. Thank you. All right, guys. Okay, so thanks, Ramadan. Ramadan, how are you? It's nice to have you here. Let's share this video. Onaoluwa is in the studio, but we're not bringing her up yet until we're sure everything is all good and everything is all clear. So on the show tonight, that is the topic of the day: feminism, a Ruse, or our evolving reality. I can confirm that Onaoluwa is in the studio. She's got dreads. I don't know if dreads would represent Onaoluwa, can you hear me? Can you wave? Oh yeah, she hears me loud and clear. Good. Onaoluwa, hi. Good evening.
Hello, good evening. Good to be here. But I can't see you. I can only see myself.
It's nice to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's nice to have you here tonight.
Thank you. I can't see you though. It's just a black screen on my end.
Oh, you can't hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Oh, you can't see me. All right, maybe it's NEPA, or maybe I'm too dark. Maybe I'm actually on the screen, but maybe I'm too dark. I'm wondering why you can't see me. Can other guys see me? You, we
Okay.
live. Mr. Timo, yeah, yeah. Good. I can't wait to get into this, Onaoluwa. I think some folks can see me. I can see you.
Okay.
What kind of hair is that? Is that dreads or something?
No, it's mine. It's not
Oh,
dreads.
they can see. Oh, people. Okay,
Okay,
so
now you're live.
Anike, my paddy for life. So they both like.
Caramella, I think. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, she
Oh,
says she
it's
loves your
Caramello.
hair. Yeah, Caramillo. Yeah, I love the name as well. Anike, that's her name. Okay, so it's nice to have you here. So let's get into this.
All
Um,
right.
so I'm starting off right now. Are you ready for me, Onaoluwa? Tonight, I'm just going to keep it very easy. I'm going to come from a position of learning, so people can learn from you. We don't know, and that's why we had you come on the show. We don't know, and that's why you're here. So just understand that some of the questions that we're going to be asking or the queries we'll be sending to you will be born from a lack of knowledge. Are you ready for me?
Yes, yes. Let's go.
Good. So let me ask you, are you a Christian?
Definitely, I am a Christian.
Okay, you
You
are
want me
a
to
Christian.
elaborate on that?
And you're a feminist as well.
How many
And
minutes
you're a
do I
feminist
have?
as well.
Yes, I'm also a feminist. I
About
identify as a Christian feminist. Interestingly, if you
you
study the
identify.
history of feminism, the first movement in the US actually started in the home of a Quaker preacher. So it's not, Christian feminism is not
Okay.
new. It's been here since the 16th century.
It looks like something new in Nigeria, though.
Well, Nigeria, well, yes, maybe new in Nigeria, but it's not new globally. It's not new. The fact is that feminism started way back, but it didn't gain much popularity until the 20th century when they were fighting for the right of women to vote, the right of women to hold office, the right of women to uh, do business transactions without a male representative. Those were the things that brought the issue of feminism to public consciousness. Before then, it was more or less like little pockets of resistance from women who wrote maybe in newspapers or sent out letters, but it wasn't something that was widespread. But in Nigeria, I think it's gaining
Okay.
ground, although it seems not to have a very good reputation at the moment. But definitely, feminism is not new. It's just that most people are just getting to hear about it. It's like my
Interesting.
little champ wants to join the
Interesting.
show.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I can hear the voice of of your baby there. Okay, so yeah, I asked the question about, okay, so you mentioned that this isn't particularly a new development, a new trend or whatever, and you're saying that it's something that's been around for quite a while. But let me ask you, why do we need a feminist movement at all?
Do we
I
need
would
what?
expect that, yeah,
Sorry, I didn't get
why
that
do we need it
question.
at all?
Oh, we definitely need
Okay, so
feminism.
I'm asking.
We do need
Okay.
feminism because the actual fact is that whenever you notice inequality in any system, then you have to find a way to correct it. Feminism, in its basic definition, is simply referring to ensuring the equality of women in the social, political, and economic spaces. So, at its core, feminism is about righting something that is already wrong. And
Mm,
if we look at our community, for instance, let's look at Nigeria,
mhm.
for instance, my local government had elections, or generally Nigeria had elections recently. We elected people to represent us at local government levels. Now tell me, what was the percentage of women that contested for those elections? Now, what was the percentage of women that actually won? At the end of the day, when we look at a society that has averagely 50% women, and then you cannot find 10% of those women holding political office, there is an imbalance. And before you can correct it, you need to have a system in place that advocates for that correction. And so that's what feminism is really about. Forget about the bad press that it gets in Nigeria with bishops and stuff saying all sorts about feminism. No, really, yes, it's bad press. But feminism at its core is doing a good job righting the imbalances that we have concerning women's rights. I can see Nana saying laugh out loud at Christian feminism or Christian feminists. That's always
that's Nana Umar is laughing out loud at that because she obviously perhaps doesn't really understand what that means. And then we're having contributions. Of course, this is going to be interactive. Don't get too distracted with the comments. I need to say that, but you are going to be saying, what you're going to be reading what people are saying in the course of the show. For instance, Anik says we really can't use Nigeria as a yardstick because we're patriarchal, in orientation, in social orientation, and what have you. So we'll come to the comments, much later. So far, I can confirm that you're loud, you're clear, you're good. We can see you, and someone loves your hair. I don't know if you saw that comment. All right.
I saw that.
now that this is where we are, and because you touched on a topic, you touched on the comments that was made by a popular bishop.
Yeah.
So since you decided to go there, I'm going to basically just replay this, for everyone to watch. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to play this short clip. I think it's for about a minute or so.
Okay.
So there's a short clip that we will be playing, and I will be asking for your. Ignore the advert space. I will be asking for your take on this video.
I hope Jumia gets to pay you.
I'm sorry, we got the wrong video. Okay, in any case, we'll get back to the video. Shortly. But this is what I want to ask you. Inequality is what you seek to address. But it isn't only against women in the world. There's inequality against albinos. There's inequality that you find in society against dwarfs. There's inequality for special people with disabilities. It's so widespread. It's so widespread. So should you not be pursuing a more balanced society? Should the interest of the focus not be, focused at an egalitarian society as opposed to just, taking out a small section, with all due respect, to how many people, share your.
Okay, I'm losing you.
Sorry?
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, if I got your question right. Yes. Okay, I can see it on the screen.
The question is on the screen.
Okay, yes, thank you. Should we just pursue equal rights for all instead of feminism? Now, that question is a double-edged sword. Because for one thing, equal rights for all is the ideal thing. That is what human rights is all about. And there is a movement for that already, I believe. There are human rights advocates that fight for both males and females. However, like I said earlier, when there is an imbalance in a system, you don't focus on the entire system, but focus on the aspects where you have an error and apply your corrective actions towards that. Now, that is the reason for feminism. Because the imbalance is majorly tilted to the female side. That is why we need feminism to focus on that aspect and, you know, beam the light on that area and help everybody see, okay, this is what is wrong, this is what we need to correct. So equal rights for all, ideal, perfect, beautiful, we already have that. But is it enough to correct the injustice against women in the different spheres where it's experienced? It's not enough. Human rights advocates have existed before now. And I think the UN is also aware of this fact. That's why when you look at the SDG goals, you have that of gender equality separate from other rights. Human rights exist on its own level, because definitely there will be people that maybe they are incarcerated for wrong things, they were not guilty. Those ones will always get people to advocate for them. But for women, who are those speaking up for women? Who are those ensuring that women do not get the same treatments they used to have in the 16th century, 17th century, 18th century? Because even though we have made a lot of progress as regards gender equality, there is still a lot that needs to be corrected. Basically, the culture needs to change. The underlying, like, I usually don't like to talk about respected people when they make opinions that I don't agree with, because most times what we see on social media may just be a clip that doesn't show the full context of everything that they were saying. So that's why most times I try to avoid it. But we cannot avoid it because these people shape the culture. When you have someone that has millions of followers and they come out with an opinion that does not give equal rights to both males and females, then you find out that people begin to say, if so person can say this, then that means it's all right. And they go ahead living that life. I'll give a typical example. In Nigeria, for instance, I work in the healthcare sector. Childcare is disproportionately skewed to females. Right from pregnancy, you find women coming to the hospital all by themselves. You will hardly find, maybe if there are 40 women in the antenatal clinic, maybe 1 or 2 might have the husband there with them in a supportive role. Now, when I was pregnant, I was joining groups abroad because it was COVID period, hospitals were closed and stuff. So I was following some of the tutorials on YouTube and joining some groups just to get information. And I realized that over there, what you have as the norm, at least from what I saw, was that couples will say, we are pregnant. They go to the clinics together, they do everything together, they prepare for the baby together. And when the baby comes, childcare is shared. It's not like, okay, you're saying the woman is the one that is supposed to do this. And so at that point, you realize that women have equal time. Like a woman who is busy. Am I still online?
You're live. You're live. We're enjoying you. Please keep going.
All right, thank you.
We can hear you.
Okay. So a woman who has her own career aspirations does not have to put it on the back burner just to take care of the family. But what do we have in most Nigerian families? What you have is that the woman is the one in charge of childcare, house chores, and then she's expected to also go to work and still function as a career woman. So at the end of the day, you find most women withdrawing from some things they ordinarily would have time for if responsibilities were equally shared. So some of those things are why we should not just talk about equal rights for all, but focus especially on the areas where women are having issues and expatiate on them so that others will be aware of, okay, we have a problem here. We need to solve this problem. So that's one example I can readily give, like without getting controversial this night. Okay, I can't hear you though.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Just a minute, please.
That's fine. That's fine. All right. So while Onaoluwa goes, I'll mute her for a minute. While she goes on to attend to her baby, I will be sharing a video clip which she has to get back on to. If you guys would give me a minute, or less than that, actually, just hang on while we, find is. There's been a video that we'll come to that. It's a video from a very renowned and respected man of God in Nigeria. We'll come to that later. But before then, I want to take you back to the times when Jesus Christ, walked the earth. Would you describe? Excuse me. Would you describe Jesus Christ as a feminist?
Definitely. I think I wrote a post on Facebook yesterday, or was it 2 days ago? And I actually highlighted 2 reasons why I believe Jesus Christ is a feminist. I won't use the word was because he's still alive. Now, one of them was that Jesus advocated for the rights of females. For example, the woman that was caught in adultery, the usual standard is that when you catch someone in adultery, there is a second person that was also involved. But in that story, we actually realized that the Pharisees brought only the woman, expecting that Jesus would just pass judgment and condemn her. But what did Jesus do? He ignored them and told them, he that does not have sin, let him throw the first stone. And eventually told the woman she should go and sin no more. Another example I can point to is Martha. Martha was involved with cooking, trying to make sure everybody was really okay. And Jesus told her, no, that's not the most important thing. Leave that and come and listen just like every other person. He gave her an equal seat at the table to learn, just like his own disciples. We can also find the other example that in scriptures, you will not find one place where Jesus actually sends any female follower to cook for him or get food for him. Unlike what is common in some of the churches today, where you have women handling food for Papa and all of that. Jesus would either prepare the food or send his male disciples to get the food. Let's not forget he had female followers, but he never sent them. There is no record of it in scriptures that he sends them to make food for him. So those are examples that I can point to just off the heart, like Jesus did not follow the customs. Please excuse me. This young man's
No problem.
nice.
Okay, so while you take care of our guy there,
let me mute the mic.
So while Onaoluwa takes care of our guy there, I will be playing a video clip. I'll mute her, and then I will be playing a video clip, that shows. Are you there? Okay, guys. So here's what we're gonna do. Let's first of all go mute. Let's mute her, so that we can have. Stop. Okay, good. So we're muting her so that we can get back to the studio proper. We mute her so that we can get to the studio proper. Good. And then we let her take care of her baby. Okay, so she's made very vital points tonight. If you want to get on the show tonight, just send a comment in and indicate interest to share an opinion. In a few minutes from now, we will have live commentary. So if you're capable of coming up, you can share that, and then we'll bring you up. But one question that I would want Onaoluwa to attend to when she comes back is this. Jesus Christ had 12 disciples, and he did not have one female disciple that is known. It could be, you could find it in perhaps, scriptures or, the scrolls that were not found. But earlier on today, you were making reference to the low level of participation of women in politics and generally, in leadership. But if we were to look at, the example of Jesus Christ, and I'm, taking the liberty to talk about that because you say you are a Christian feminist. If we review that, then I want to ask you, why would Jesus Christ not have even just one, perhaps as demonstration of his interest in feminism? I will meet you now.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry about the pause. My husband is not around.
No problems at all.
Okay, so
no problems at all.
The aspects of Jesus not having a female disciple, let's not forget the times Jesus lived in, or the times the Bible was recorded in. That was before Christ. When you actually talk of the time before Christ, women had little or no rights. So the thing is, for Jesus to have a female follower, it would have either been a single female or a married woman. Mm-hmm. At that time, married women were not allowed to do things without their husband's consent. Now, try to picture back to those times. How many men?
Real? Would that be the reason why Jesus Christ didn't have any female following him around?
That is the logical reason, because the Bible actually records that he had female followers who were even the first people to see him after his resurrection. When Jesus died, the first person that saw him was a female.
No, I need to correct
that.
But
those people were not allowed to stay with him as disciples because of the culture of the times. The singles would definitely not dare it because their fathers would not allow it. And the married ones will not allow, would not even try such because their husbands will not allow it. So that's what I see as the limitation that prevented Jesus from having any official female disciple. But Jesus definitely had female followers. We had people like Mary Magdalene. We had Mary. There's another Mary that is not Mary Magdalene. Okay. Feminism is...
Oh. Yeah. Okay, good. But I need to, I don't know if our fact checker is up. We're doing fact check. We're doing fact checks. We're checking the facts. But one point I want to raise with regards to that is, I'm not sure. Jesus Christ at that point had his feet washed by a woman.
That he had what?
Jesus Christ's feet got washed by a woman. A woman washed his feet with tears.
Yes.
And that, in my opinion, was kind of intimate. If a girl came to wash my feet with her tears today, I'm sure all my body would be standing. But let me get back to the focus of this.
That action
he could have had a disciple possibility.
That action was not depicting intimacy. Let's not forget that Jesus also washed the feet of his disciples. Wow. This young man wants to be in the show. Why? He wants to be in the show. I don't know why. I'm trying to hide his face. I'm trying to hide his face.
Oh, I understand. You're trying to hide his face for privacy reasons. But if you really want to have him show up, let him show up, please. We don't mind that. We don't mind that. All right, so we'll show other comments while that is ongoing.
Sorry.
So I'll read. Oh, no problem. I'll read comments now from different viewers. Ramadan says, before the coming of the British, didn't we have the women at the forefront of affairs, from Iyaloja to women going to war and leading. However, when the British came, we then saw that their women don't work and do nothing. We then picked up this and started to imbibe it in our culture. But if I will say something about that, that's from Ramadan, and that's a valid point he makes there. But if I should say this, this point you raise sort of works against what Ufoma Sofe says. By the way, Ufoma, welcome to the show. These few days that you usually have on Facebook is nice to have you before you get banned again. So let me quickly say this. Ufoma is saying that the villages, the rural areas have no semblance of feminism, feminism coming up. I mean, it's not a rave. It's not trending in the local places, in the villages and what have you. And so Ufoma is concerned that this message is sort of elitist. It's for the educated minds like Onaoluwa, who is obviously an educated lady. So Ramadan says that, look, we had a feminist. Ramadan is, so I don't know, you can correct me in the comments. Ramadan is trying to suggest that we had a feminist society. Well, or let's say a society that recognized feminism, in the past until the British came, and then all of that, got tumbled. So if I put that side by side, Onaoluwa, what would you have to say with regards to, did you think that Africa in the past used to recognize feminism more? I think it's the other way around, because the women were basically almost like slaves. So what would you have to say about prehistoric, or not prehistoric now, Africa in history? Were we more feminist in the past than we are today? I'm on mute,
Okay, thank you. Let me see. There was a question I was answering before this, and that was that
yes, please go ahead.
Washing of feet was not about intimacy. It was actually service. That the woman washed his feet was like a servant cleaning him up. Jesus also did the same thing for his disciples. He washed their feet and told them to do likewise. And what the woman did was not a question of intimacy at all. Then on the question of history, the
disciples were male. Jesus Christ is not known to have washed any woman's legs. Jesus did not wash any woman's feet.
It would have been taboo for him to do it.
There's no record of it that he washed a woman's feet. A woman washed the feet of Jesus, but we have no
it would have been taboo for him to do it. That's what I'm trying to explain. It would have been taboo. If he had done that, it would have been like, maybe he's trying to, someone is not married to or another man's wife. He had no right. Don't forget that in those days, women were veiled. They were covered. You had to have full covering, head to toe. So there was no way he would have done that based on the culture of the times. So on the second question about history, Yoruba history, I know that the history is not, I don't want to say it's fragmented. Yes, we had powerful women, like we read about Sefu Shetan, Aniwura, like some of those yellow days that were so powerful. But we also know that there were women there was a particular one I read in secondary school. I'm trying to recall the name now, where this woman offended her husband. I think the husband was a king, and the husband sent for her father's head to be cut and put on a plate and brought to her just to punish her. Tell her that, okay, because of what you have done, I'm killing your father. So there were periods of oppression of women, even in Yoruba history. And yes, there were powerful women, like some of those ones that were yellow days, but they were like not general body of women.
Okay, thanks for that.
On that aspect, I would say it wasn't the British that actually spoiled gender equality in Yoruba land. What I will say is that maybe we had pockets of some women who had somehow liberated themselves, but we definitely still had inequality in Yoruba land too. So it wasn't a question of the British destroying our good history.
Thank you for that. We're going to get to the very controversial parts of this session before you leave. because we'll be rounding up shortly, while also, inviting anyone who wants to come up. But before then, I'm going to be sharing this. We're getting to very controversial parts now. People like controversy, so
Okay.
we will feed a bit. We will feed a bit of that before you leave tonight. What we're doing is 1 minute, just a minute, please. So I'm
What were
sharing
the
a
what?
video right now. We tried to share the video. We tried to share the video earlier.
Can I have a question on the screen? I couldn't get that. What were they?
Well, it's not a question, but we're trying to show you.
Okay.
We're trying to show it, play a video. I'll mute
okay,
this.
Okay.
I'll mute you now, and then we'll play a video very quickly. I'm hoping that. Okay, so here is the video that we want to play.
You may never have a good home with it. I've shouted today on feminine revolution, or female revolution, women revolution. Don't join that club. You may never have a good home with it.
Okay. Did you hear that?
You better join the kingdom revolution. The kind that we of the old school are using is working for me, sir. I've never had 1 hour of prayer for my family. Oh no, let it work. He showed me what to do.
Okay, guys. So you heard. We don't have all the. Unfortunately, this isn't rolling well.
I've shouted today on.
We're playing it again.
Women revolution. Don't join that club. You may never have a good home with it. You better join the kingdom revolution. The kind that we of the old school are using is working for me, sir. I've never had 1 hour of prayer for my family. Oh no, let it work. He showed me what to do. Okay, love your wife as God loves the church. I don't think Papa knows who my wife is. I don't think God himself can even know her. You are too smart for God. Submit yourself to your husband in everything. No, today. That is before. Right now, nobody can do that. We are co-heirs, male and female, no difference. You're just too smart for God to lead. This is the way to go. No, let me educate you, God. You didn't go to school, did you? Then you show him the code that operates now, in case you don't know that in heaven. But right now, there is a feminine revolution. Amen. And then you get into feminine frustration and destiny devastation. Not you.
So, welcome back to the show, Onaoluwa.
Thank you. Can you hear me, though? All right.
That man, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay.
That man is a renowned Nigerian religious leader. He's respected by tens of millions of Nigerians.
Yeah.
I know you have some opinion about him. I don't want to preempt you. But do you suppose that a man with such experience and age on his side would be wrong to say that he's falling short of saying it's insane to join the female revolution or feminine revolution? What are your thoughts on that video? I know you've written about it already, by the way.
Yes, I don't
But share
agree
your
with
thoughts
him.
with us.
I don't agree with him. And yes, it's necessary to respect age. It's necessary to respect anointing. However, older prophets do get it wrong. We have examples in scriptures of the old prophet that misled the young one and led to his death. So, on the subject he spoke about, he's wrong. The actual fact is that um, Ephesians 5:22 is a very popular verse that men of God like him would
Ephesians
often
what?
refer
Ephesians
to.
5 what?
Sorry, I
Are
didn't
you
get
quoting the
that,
Bible
please.
passage now?
Yes, the one
What
that talks
Bible
about
passage?
wives submit to your own husbands and all of that. It's always a ready quote, but they always forget the preceding verse. And the preceding verse says, submit one to another, which means the submission should first of all go both ways. If your wife is more experienced in the aspect of finances, for instance, and let's say she's a funds manager, and she tells you, okay, sweetheart, please, that money we need to invest, we cannot invest in option A, let's go for B. Except you have superior knowledge in that area, it is wrong for you as the man not to submit to our own superior reasoning in that aspect. Because for you to argue, even when you don't have the experience or knowledge that she has, is to lead the family in the wrong direction. And what we have is so many families are not utilizing the gifts and talents the wife has simply because the man feels I'm the one in charge. I should submit to me. And forgetting that they submit one to another. This question is distracting. But let me stay
Sorry.
on track. The aspect of
Yeah.
him talking about joining the feminine revolution, not having happy homes, and all of that is just balderdash to me. Because, like I asked on my Facebook posts earlier today, how many
Yeah.
pastors actually have happy homes? How many Christians actually have happy homes? Even those where the wives are enduring for years simply because of the children. My parents have been marriage counselors for years. Like, I grew up
Onaoluwa, can you
listening
tell us
to.
how many pastors have happy homes? Do you have the data? How many pastors have happy homes? Do you know?
I don't have an actual accurate data, but I can talk from anecdotal evidence of counseling sections that my parents have had with several people. I was growing up as a very impressionable young girl, and I got to hear, because when conflicts happen between couples, it's usually not quiet. When they come to the house and you're having them talk about issues and what they are going through, most times they are loud enough that children in the children's room can hear what they are saying. So I grew up listening to a lot of stories, like hearing a lot of things. And I found out actually that many people have challenges. Now I know that marriage is not easy. For two people who are coming from different backgrounds and ideologies, there will always be conflict. However, when it comes to definition of a happy home or a successful home, what are the things we are measuring? So if we are actually measuring maybe the fruits of the family, maybe the children, or maybe their impact in the community, where do you actually get the evidence that those who are feminists don't have happy homes? Like the very first person that introduced me to gender equality, Professor Rina Okonkwo, she's the mother of Ndidi Nwuneli, founder of Leap Africa. To all intents and purposes, our home is peaceful. I used to go to their house on the campus then. I never saw her having a quarrel or arguments with her husband. And she definitely believes in gender equality. The husband does not stifle her, or he didn't force her to resign. She's a professor, and till she retired, she was active and still had other interests. Now, contrast that with some of the Christian families that I grew up to see. We had some families where the men would tell the wives to resign simply because maybe they felt our working might be competition to them. We had some of those families where the wives had practically no say in the family. Now, at the end of the day, we look at their children, the children that came out, not trying to mock anybody, but we look at them and we wonder, is this all there is? Is that all this, godly family could produce? And then you ask yourself, this was not a happy home, or it was not a good home in the first place for you to bring out some of these kind of products. So when it comes out to say those who are joining the feminine revolution will have this or will have that, I just say that doesn't really work, because there are so many people in Christendom who are also having challenges in their marriage. The news that trended this last week was about a pastor that got married to the wife of one of his members, Mr. Bright Ben or something. And of course, when you look at that, that tells you that the wife actually came out yesterday, or was it today, to say the man had been abusing and tormenting her for 11 good years. I went and checked the profile of that man, that Mr. Bright Ben that actually cried out that his pastor stole his wife. His profile was filled with Bible verses. Like, after every one or two posts, you see a Bible verse, or you see something like a prayer or a promise. There was nothing like him playing bad music on his timeline. His Facebook timeline was like what you would expect of a Christian to actually be posting. Now, contrast that with the fruit of what the wife said he has been doing. I don't support divorce. I don't believe the woman did the right thing to go and marry the pastor. However, when you look at that story, you realize that all three of them claim to be Christians, and yet the fruit is terrible. So for me, I would not even want us to bring that into the picture and say feminists are the ones that have terrible homes. That's not true. Definitely not true.
Onaoluwa, yeah, because we're going to be rounding up now shortly. In about 1 minute or two, you do agree that not every woman, well, not all the women I know, even on Facebook, support this concept. Why do you think that this is not a very popular view with women? Why do you think? Oh yes, okay. So my producer has, I think he's coming up with the video of the man who is alleged to have, snatched the wife of snatched the wife of one of his members. We don't know how true or not that story is. It's online, however. But yeah, thanks. We've seen that. But back to the issue now. If I can ask you, do we ever get to a point where why do you think women why is this move not very popular with women?
Well, I can hazard a guess. One of two things: it's either fear. A lot of people are afraid of what they do not quite understand. Then the other thing could actually be Stockholm syndrome. Like, some people are in love with their abusers. Like, they love the fact that somebody is oppressing them. I wouldn't want to go so deep into some of that psychology, but I think majorly it's about fear. Like, before I actually started identifying as a Christian feminist, I told one of my friends inbox on Facebook, I think around 2015 or 2016, that I am a tortured feminist. And when he was asking me why, I think I recall telling him that because of the fact that I actually believe in feminism, but I am afraid to speak out about it, because I know that once I start talking about these issues, there'll be backlash. And until
All right.
2019, 2020, I really didn't talk about it. So for most people, it's fear because they're afraid of what will people say about me when I join this new ideology, even though it's not new. So they're afraid that people will label them as those bitter women who don't have happy homes and who are just spoiling the whole privilege for men.
Well, you don't look to me. You don't look to me like you do not have a happy home. But there's so many. There's so many angles that we're trying to cover, but which time always works against. But just to say a few things here, a question came up. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 24. Or yeah, I think so. Someone put it up, and then I saw that in the course of your answer. And um, what I want to ask is related to the need for this at this point in time, when I think that the message should be directed really, really at women. I would think that more of the issue would be resolved if you're able to engender, social change. You mentioned the very low level of participation in politics, for women. Who's responsible for that? And that brings me to the next question. Who really, if we're going to fix a problem, we need to know what the cause of the problem is. What really is the cause of this? Let's talk about Nigeria for now, because talking broadly, would make us lose context. In Nigeria, what really is the cause of the issues around feminism? Why isn't it popular? Why is there no mainstream acceptance? I don't think it's mainstream. I think that to a very large extent, there's a lot of work that has to be done for that message to go out, where equal rights, of the genders, of the sexes, becomes a core message. I don't even think you should talk about the North for now. I think you should perhaps maybe talk about the South. Even in the South, there's still a whole lot of work to be done. But what really is the cause of the slow growth of the movement? Well, I've been corrected, it's not a movement, but for the sake of this conversation, let's call it. Why do you think it's not gaining traction as quickly as you want to find it? Big Brother is more popular than feminism currently.
Well, I did mention fear the other time, and I will still harp on that. For one thing, men who do not support feminism are afraid. Like Consul Cato said in the 16th century in Rome, he said, when you give these women equal rights, before you know it, they become superior to you. Most of the men who fight against feminism are scared. They're like, if we start giving equal rights and privileges to these women, won't they abuse it and then start lording it over us? Now, for the women who do not readily accept or adopt feminism, for some of them, it's still fear. While for some others, it is just a question of they don't want to be the first sets of people to join the moving train. Like, even in business, you know that there are always early adopters, and then before something becomes a popular product, it will take some time for those early adopters to actually get on board and then move on to maybe a stage where more people get on board. Before you have like 75% of people adopting any product, it takes some years. So I think the same thing, feminism is also going through that in Nigeria. It's much more popular in some other countries, but in Nigeria, because of the fact that it's relatively new on the consciousness of the public, then it will take some time. With more education, with more advocacy, people will get on board, so long as they are not afraid
Thank
that
you very
they will
much.
be excommunicated from church because they are feminists.
Okay, thank you. Well, just like they say, time is never on anyone's side. I would have to request that sometimes in the near future, we'll have to bring you back to this show, because see, we're just scratching the surface of a very deep and important
Thank you very
development,
much. I have
social
actually
development,
enjoyed
and I'm
discussing this.
hoping and to be honest, you have a lot. That you
Thank
have to
you.
share with the world with regards to what you're doing. I wish you the very best as you go
Thank
out
you.
to share and espouse these learnings of yours. For me, it's a learning experience. For me, I want to learn. I want to understand what it is. I like to do things for women. I like to do things for women. I'm not talking wife now. I'm not talking wife. I like to do things for women. I like to support them. I love women entrepreneurs. As a matter of fact, in my previous life, before marriage, my interest used to be in what I used to like in women were, women who were professionals, women who were willing to rise and so I look back at my life, all my past girlfriends, Abuja, where are they? Anywhere, were people who were women, ladies who had some level of enlightenment, with regards to the ones that were not very enlightened, they didn't make it at all. Yeah, so we didn't get far at all. But I totally want to thank you. I absolutely want to thank you for coming on the show tonight. And I'm hoping that when
My
we invite you,
pleasure.
when I bug you, you would come back again.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be on the
And love
show.
to the little. Thank you. Love to the little man that was there. He was part of the show. Help us thank him. Say thank you to him on our behalf for being part of the show tonight. Thank you all so much. Iba Live is rounding up in the next 1 or 2 minutes. I want to take this chance and this opportunity that I have to say thank you very much to all the viewers and the participants in this. This is the first of a number of shows that we're going to be having. There's a question that Emmy Omo asked. She says, "Is Jesus Christ not God again?" Because if you say Jesus Christ is a feminist, what about the God in the Old Testament? Do you want to
God
quickly
was
take that
not
before you
sexist.
go?
God was not sexist. People don't read their Bibles. It was still the same God that told Moses to allow the daughters of Zelophehad earn inheritance. I mean, get their father's inheritance after he died. This was Exodus. How many years ago? In Igbo land, it was just of recent that they won the Supreme Court case for women to inherit land. And as far back as Bible times, God already gave that right to women. So people actually need, because what I understand is that when you read the scriptures and get the correct interpretation of some controversial text, you would understand the spirit behind what you're seeing that is happening. Because it wasn't until I got to that area of understanding that the Bible is not something you interpret like your regular dictionary. Before I could understand that some of the things we read is not what God is saying, is the perfect example. They just put it there for us to learn and see what those people did wrong so that we don't copy them. God is not sexist. If he was, he would have made Eve from dust or made her from maybe animal dung. But he made her from Adam's ribs by his side as his partner, equal, not from his legs to be trampled under. God is definitely not sexist. I
Thank
think
you
this
very
should
much.
not be too much of theology, but God is not sexist, please. Read your Bibles and
Thank
pray
you.
for
Thank you.
understanding.
Thank you, Onaoluwa, for thank you. That would be a fantastic place to leave things tonight. Thank you
You're
for coming
welcome,
up on the
sir.
show. Thank you guys for your comments. Thank you for everything. To the producers, the guys behind the scenes, Babadi is right there. Mr. Booker T is right there. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone. Thank you all for participating in this. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your views. I hope the next time we do this, it's actually going to be better. Thank you very much, guys. Have a very beautiful evening. And I say,
Same.
well, thank you.
Welcome. Bye.